Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you're listening around the world. A very warm welcome from London in the UK. Here is today's news about electric cars and the future of transport. I go through every EV article online, so you don't have to. My name is Martin Lee, and this is your EV News Daily for Sunday, the 15th of April, 2018. Coming up on today's programme, we'll talk about the top 5 fastest electric cars and how Tesla are reworking some of their parts. But first of all, starting with the Hyundai IONIQ. Not easy to get hold of. Bit of a waiting list on this one, but it is well worth it if you can get hold of one. Not only is it a great family car, but despite its modest 28 kilowatt hour usable battery, technically it's a little larger than that. It's not a criticism really, because in tests with its peers, the likes of the eGolf and the new Nissan Leaf, it has been shown on YouTube reviews to outperform them on range. It's just so bloomin' efficient. However, something that I've seen more and more of lately online is complaints over it not being just quite big enough for some markets, particularly China and America. And Brinkwire say that Hyundai are getting the message and that we could be developing a longer wheelbase variant of the Hyundai IONIQ. The added length of the wheelbase will free up more room inside the cabin, bit more at the front, bit more for rear passengers, and the rumours are also indicating that's what will allow the larger battery that's due to be fitted to the Hyundai IONIQ. Now, last year there were stories about the battery being upgraded, and then earlier this year when Hyundai unveiled their Kona and their battery contracts with LG Chem, their 39-ish kilowatt hour battery they've ordered for the small one, and 64 kilowatt hour for the large version of the Hyundai IONIQ, the long range one. Well, if they were to put either one of those into the Hyundai IONIQ, it would be a game changer for such an efficient car. Say they go with the smaller one, that's a 10 kilowatt hour bump. That's all the car needs, and maybe a new longer version of the IONIQ would allow them to put that battery pack inside it. Still just rumours, but watch this space. I can see them doing that. Well, moving on to the top 5 electric cars in the world that might or might not quite exist just yet. And it's interesting when you look at how the very top end of the market, giving supercars and hypercars, ICE-powered ones, a real run for their money. In 5th place, the Vanda Dendrobium. It's going to cost £1 million, can accelerate from standstill to 100 k's or 62 miles an hour in 2.7 seconds. Top speed, 320. In 4th place, the Faraday Future FF91. Well, Faraday Future are said to be back on track with new funding, and the FF91 has 3 electric motors that make 1,050 brake horsepower and is capable of doing the 0 to 60 in 2.39 seconds. It also has torque vectoring and 4-wheel steering, so you can corner hard. In 3rd place, we put the Neo EP9. This is from China, and the EP9 uses in-wheel motors, just like the Rimac, that we'll come to in a moment. It's aerodynamically designed to generate more downforce than a Formula 1 car, with an active rear spoiler. 0 to 100 k's or 0 to 60 in 2.7 seconds. In 2nd place, we'll put the forthcoming Tesla Roadster. It has 1 motor at the front and 2 at the back. Now, Tesla hasn't revealed yet how much horsepower it makes, but a claimed 0 to 96 kilometers an hour, so 0 to 60, not 0 to 62, in 1.9 seconds, which is just ridiculous. More people looking at the 0 to 160 kilometers time these days, as cars are getting so much quicker. It'll do that dash in 4.2 seconds and a top speed of 400 kilometers an hour. And in 1st place, the Rimac C_2. Good name. It has 4 in-wheel electric motors with a combined power of 1,888 brake horsepower. Now, the range between charges is 640 kilometers, which is quite a lot less than the Roadster. That was heading towards 1,000 kilometers, the new Tesla Roadster, between charges. It'll do 0 to 60 in 1.85 seconds, a top speed of 413 kilometers per hour, simply limited by the physics of the wheels and the tyres and the rubber that it runs on. That's incredible! And any one of those would fit very nicely on my driveway. Sadly, none of those are within budget. Right, moving on. And CNBC claimed to have some more dirt on Tesla. This is getting tiresome now. Anyway, this is what they say. Tesla is struggling to manage and fix a significant volume of flawed or damaged parts from its suppliers, sending some of them to local machine shops for reworking, according to several current and former Tesla engineers. The company said it also makes adjustments to the design of some parts after receiving them from the suppliers. Well, evidence of Tesla's rework burden stands in plain view in San Jose, California, less than half an hour drive from the company's main factory in Fremont. Towering racks and stacks of boxes, emblazoned with the Tesla name, stood in the lot beside a sheet metal and machine shop called JL Precision earlier this month. And that's where their reports, that's where we'll end the coverage of their report. It goes on to rehash everything you know about Tesla pretty much. Or, look, another way of writing that headline could be that Tesla has its sights set on standards so high, they're just not willing to accept anything substandard, and they only want the best, so they are ensuring that all the parts are perfect before using them to build with. But that would be a non-story, wouldn't it? Wouldn't get many clicks. Or you could remember that all car companies are known to do this. It's not a new thing for some car companies to take some of the parts, some exterior, some you can't see, and take them to shops to be slightly reworked rather than send them back to the supplier. Or you could just say that those parts were being sent for evaluation or quality control purposes. Well, you could say that, but again, wouldn't get many clicks, would it? Easy to write another Tesla bashing article. Right, moving on, and while the BMW i3 may not be being replaced, we know that from BMW, the German automaker is, they say, planning an all-new model to replace it, dubbed the i1, according to an article on Autospies. Despite what its name suggests, the BMW i1 would actually be larger than the current i3, but slightly smaller than the next generation 1 Series. That's according to Spain's Motor.es, reporting that. It's claimed that the all-new model will be based on the same platform as the Mini Cooper Electric. Now, that would make a lot of sense. And like its British cousin, receive power from a single electric motor powering the front wheels. If this is the case, the i1 should offer a similar range and performance to the Mini, which at this stage is a bit of a mystery. No, it's going to be made here in the UK, not far from here actually, in Oxfordshire, and 2019, I believe, is when it's slated to start production. Well, finally, on the subject of charging and grid demand, this article says that electric vehicle owners in areas served by the New Hampshire Electric Cooperative are going to be getting a cheap power rate for recharging their cars overnight, as long as they do it either overnight or on weekends. That's according to the Concord Monitor. The NHEC announced 2 days ago on Friday it would become the state's first utility to offer time of day pricing, although only for charging EVs if it's off-peak. Now, the idea is to reduce the burden that electric vehicles place on the power grid without discouraging them as a source of business. They're going to be a growing source of electric load, and it's new demand mostly, said Seth Wheeler, spokesman for the NHEC. We don't want to have to build new power plants to meet this need. If they charge during periods of low demand, there's plenty of power, and we can avoid the need to build generation. End quote. And that is the dirty little secret that everyone who is an EV basher doesn't want you to know, or is too ignorant to know. There is plenty of grid production available if we're all smart about when we charge our EVs. Well, I would love to spread the word about electric cars. If you can, share this with somebody who might be interested. You can listen to every previous episode of the podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, YouTube, TuneIn, and of course the blog at evnewsdaily.com. You can subscribe on pretty much all of those platforms, and if you do, you get it first and free and automatically. And it would mean a lot if you could possibly rate and review on whatever platform you download it on. Get in contact on the socials, on Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn. Search EV News Daily. Have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you tomorrow.